Hi. Today main topic is what is a bus? You know, yesterday I talked about what is the bus thing. So bus is just a group of wire, but there's a purpose of this wire. Um, the main purpose is when you're trying to interact with the memory of the hardware. There's a line that we have to use, and there are three purpose of the lines. There are like three types of the bus: address bus and data bus and control bus. And I talked about this yesterday, and I found out that there's really more about this. Okay, let me just recap of this. In the real mode, we can so there's like the environment of the computer, which is real mode and protect mode, and the long mode, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit. In the real mode, you're able to interact with the hardware without relying on some kind of virtual memory or some kind of virtual the paging, those kind of thing. So that is why we can write the bootloader code in the real mode. The bootloader has to be in the real mode because the bootloader is the code that doesn't rely on the operating system that and that is also the communicate with the hardware physical the memory address directly. And and if you look at the how to get the physical memory address in the real mode, we can use some kind of the uh, the program counter or instruction pointer register or the code segment register, the CS thing. And this kind of registers is part of CPU because CPU has a register and register is just kind of the storage in the CPU, and that has there's a purpose of it, and it can divide into two purpose, which is general purpose and the special purpose of it. And these registers are special purpose of the register, and these are general purpose of the register. And this special purpose of register is the register for this specific purpose. So let me just give you the big example of it, which is called segment register and instruction pointer register. Using CSIP, we can able to get the memory address of it, and but there should be purpose of getting some kind of value in the memory address, right? And this is the purpose is getting the instructions. And what do you mean instruction? Instruction is just the command that we just declare for the CPU because CPU doesn't know anything. We have to specify the instruction or the command to the CPU, and CPU will execute this instruction by instructions, just not line by line. Just say there are a bunch of instructions that we can do, but the CPU only execute the per instruction because it doesn't run it into concurrently. It's just the just doing it time by time, not time by time, instruction by instruction and instructions. And we store instruction into some kind of memory address, and the the mem the memory address is it just the it's just the address of the memory, and this kind of whole kind of action to get the instruction and to execute it is called the fetch, not execute it to get the instruction, and this kind of action is called the fetch. And yesterday I talked about the the big action of the CPU is first thing is fetch, and next thing the second thing is decode, and third thing is execute. And this is the fetch. We're just getting the instruction, and that is called the fetch. But the thing is that we should use some kind of the bus thing. We should send the target memory address, and we will send the memory address value, right? And in that moment, we should use some kind of the wire for that thing. What even did that wire is called a bus. The bus is just a group of wire that, but that's not dummy wire, but there is some purpose on it, and you can divide into, like I just said, um, address bus, data bus, control bus. And in the fetch time, we request our address value. Let's say we just want to get the memory address, one address, and we were able to get some kind of this part, right? Mm, And this address bus is just the highway. It's just the driving highway, but the our driver is the address, the value of their address, right? And after that, we were able to get the value of it with data of it, and this data is the instruction in the in the memory. And after we receive the data, instruction from the data bus is also the highway, but the driver or the car is the data. Now we are data is instruction, right? And after receiving instructions, and we can just manipulate it, right? And the also we should define the control. What mean control in our CPU? In our CPU architecture, like there's bunch of processors, right? 8088, 8086, right? And if you look at closely how it looks, there's gonna be pin, right? There's gonna be like a lot of pins, and of course, the wire has to connect it into some kind of pin, and the interesting thing is that there's also a purpose of this pin, and based on that, we can read or write on it. Based on if we put the electric here, if it is the if this pin per if the purpose of this pin is for the read, it's gonna go electric, and this is gonna be the control is gonna be read. So based on the control signals, control bus is just the highway, but the driver or the car is the control signals. And control signal is actually can divide based on the hardware specification, like 8088, 8086. But 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 actually, but the basic the control signal is read and write. We can so if we try to um, read the control signals, and if we say this a read, we're just reading this kind of instructions, and we just get the data and send it back to the CPU, and of course the processor we're gonna up the uh, up the program counter um, because the program counter is just like the adding this instructions value, the size of it into some kind of specific value on it. So I think program counter is really abstract. So let's skip this thing today. So after receiving some kind of data, and we also have to sense the control signals based on inside the control bus, and that is really important because the bus, when we're trying to like think about bus, is we trying to think about some kind of school bus and back and we can drive, right? But in here it is not. It's just a group of wire that has some kind of purpose, and it can divide into three purposes: address bus, data bus, and control bus. And based on that, we can just sense our data or sense our address value or sense our control signal, which is read and write and those kind of thing. And based on that, we can do the our CPU's action. Yeah, we can, based on that we can do the CPU action, the fetch and decode and um execution, right? Execute. And yeah, so this is it. This is kind of explaining about bus, because yesterday I thought I was good. I mean, like I thought my explanations are really nice, but I found out that there's something on the missing part, and I should explain this missing part on that. So this is it. Have a nice day and see you next time. Bye bye.